root things. And so when people say, well, my great grandmother lived to be 110 and she, she ate meat. Yeah, but she mostly ate vegetables. Because you didn't kill a chicken every other day. They didn't eat half a chicken.
Right.
Okay, they couldn't afford to.
Right.
They wouldn't have the eggs and things. So you didn't kill all your animals and eat them. You had some, chicken or some meat along with it, but it was primarily vegetable or plant based. So we went from the plantation to the, we got to go back to the plants.
Right.
In order to heal ourselves. So for our health, for our well-being, for the, for all, the health problems and things that we're facing today, we got to be more plant-based.
And then when you were saying the part about being vegan, where there's nothing that was ever living in their food, like you said, a chicken.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No butter, even, no honey. So.
And how important is that not to have in your body?
Well, there are people involved in health that are on both sides of that. I mean, so some of that is philosophical.
Okay.
And other parts of that is more health. So I'm not vegan. Like I said,
right.
I'm not vegan. I may be 90% or so there. But,
right.
I still have some things that have other things in it, and I wish we had some of the choice and variety that we do in California and some other places. But, it's it's a road. But for most people, if they go from where they are, if they go from the standard American diet,
right.
the standard diet that we're eating, is especially people of color, but anybody who's got diabetes and high blood pressure and cancer and things like that in their family, in their history, and they seem to be going along the same way. They need to start making more steps to incorporate more of these principles into diet, and then getting, of course, the exercise and getting more fiber, high fiber foods. If you eat a plant-based diet, you're going to get more fiber. You're going to have more healthy flora in your gut.
Right.
We're talking about the gut, what they call the gut biome, what's in the digestive system, especially if you've ever taken antibiotics and a number of medications.
Right.
Our digestive system can get out of whack. It affects our immune system. It affects our health altogether.
And then another quick question. Lately, a lot of people have been coming out with probiotic products, looking to drink and different things like that. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, do they work? I mean, like I said, I know there are so many different companies now that have this stuff. And also, how good is it for you and what does it really do for you?
Yeah, well, the probiotics are really designed. I mean, they're designed to help to improve the balance of healthy flora in our digestive system. I mean, so traditionally that was done through having the sauerkraut and fermented foods and those types of things. That's why those things are still around today. And now people are having kombucha and they're having, or they're taking probiotics. And so you have some that are I'll say more effective than others, but I do recommend people take probiotics as well, especially if they've taken antibiotics and other things and they're having digestive problems.
All right. Also, we've got Dee on the line from Flint. Has a question to ask in this regard. Hi, Dee. How are you?
Thank you for taking my telephone call. I'm going to be very specific to the point and brief. First thing, I heard the statement which prompted me to make this telephone call in reference to, and I'm paraphrasing a quote. There are a lot of areas, not just Flint, with a lot of problems. And the problem that I have with that statement, and I understand that I'm paraphrasing that, is that, yes, maybe, and I'm not saying that there are not a lot of areas that may have water problems, but the problem that exists in Flint is that it was man-made and politically induced. And so I definitely have issue with the statement being said with reference to Flint, Michigan, because other areas may be, but not the way Flint, Michigan was man-made and induced. And the people of the city of Flint are still having problems with the water, where they're not getting free bottles of water. They must pay for those, but at the same time, they're using water that they must pay for. And the only thing that they can do with the water that they must pay for at this time is to brush their toilets too. That's one. One more quick point. With reference to plant-based veganism, vegetarianism, etc. Well, one thing is that the plants eat the manure, or they feed upon the manure that animals put out. It's a process. So we all must feed upon one another regardless, and nobody has that answer. It's just a theory. I have an aunt who just turned 100 years old a few days ago, and the thing about it is she's been eating wheat all of her life. So what do you have to say about that right there in terms of, quote, a theory? And I'm not just making these statements just to say these off the top of my head. I will get off the air and let you guys respond unless you want me to continue the conversation.
We're all set because our back's up against the wall. D, thank you, though, very much for your call.
D, thank you. And by the way, to clarify, I was not meaning to undermine the problem or severity and the problems with Flint. In fact, I mentioned it. And I mention it here, I mention it in California, I mention it pretty much wherever I go, is because it is a problem, and people can relate to that. And so, yeah, that was a man-made problem. It is probably most severe in Flint. And it's also going on in many communities across the country as well. So I'm saying, I highlight Flint as being amongst the worst, but also say, hey, that's happening in underserved communities, that's happening in places where you have a lot of industry, and so we need to be aware and not say, okay, well, Flint's bad, but our water is good. So we all need to be more aware, and this has been going on for a very long time. When I started buying, bottled water 40 years ago, people looked at me critically and laughed.
Right.
Because they're like,
oh, you're paying for it? It's free.
You're really a freak. You're really a health nut. And then now, even little kids are taking bottled water to school, and you're seeing it in vending machines.
And also, I know at your place, you've also got alkaline water.
Yes, we do.
And what's the difference between that and, let's just say, I'm just saying tap water?
Yeah. Well, one thing, tap water is fine for its about 80% of its intended, 80 to 90% of its intended use, which is washing clothes and flushing down the toilet, flushing things. So it doesn't matter the quality of your water that you wash your car with or that you flush down the toilet is not that important.
Right.
But the quality of the water that you put in your body, that you use for cooking and for drinking is very important. So the level should be of the highest quality. So, for example, when with our alkaline water and with, and I wish this was true of all the treatment systems, but it goes through a triple filtration process, and it goes through ultraviolet light as well to kill bacteria and things, because you hear about Giardia and Cryptosporidium and all types of parasites and bacteria and things like that. And ultraviolet light, just like when you see it in the barbershop or beauty salon or something, it kills a lot of those bacteria and those things that are light sensitive. So it goes through it takes out the chlorine, the fluorine, and those things, and it's exposed to the ultraviolet. Now, and then speaking to Dee's issue about his 110-year-old whoever, and I mean, he illustrates my point. 100 years ago, people were living on the farm, so practically everyone who's 100 years old either grew up on the farm, they had some roots there. Okay, so they did not grow up eating McDonald's and Burger Kings and those types of things. So, and that's why you're finding people who are, not living as long, okay, or not being as healthy in their advanced years.
Right.
Okay. So, the first time I had a McDonald's, I think I was in my teens, as opposed to growing up with it. People having breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
It was a big deal
back then.
It was a real big deal.
Because I still bring up the fact, you remember we were growing up, there was that Kentucky Fried Chicken on 8 Mile, just west of DeQuinder on the Detroit side. Okay. It was basically in our neighborhood. Yeah. And the only time we ever went there was Mother's Day and maybe Mama's birthday. Yeah. And other than that, no, you never.
You had home cooked meals.
Right.
Okay, and it was fresh. It was good every day. So the chances for longevity at this point, especially being free of disease, is not as great as it was when we came from the farm. I mean,
Right.
and really even around Detroit. I mean, not 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 80 years ago, there was still a lot of farmlands around, and so it's still buying food that's local and fresh. Is even better. There's something that shipped thousands of miles away. So I'm glad to see the farming movement and seeing D-town farms and things that, around as well. And then, for example, the fats. We didn't, frying foods, barbecuing foods.
Mhm.
We got if anything, that should be a treat. That shouldn't be something that we have every
Every
day.
day.
We're having too many fried foods. We're having too many saturated fats as well. And then we need to flush out our bodies. This is spring cleaning for me is knowing that every season, especially when people don't adjust well to the change of seasons, I get a cold, I get a flu, I get this, and I get that. And a lot of people were particularly hit hard by the flu this season. I'm
Right.
like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, fortunately, that passed by me. But if we don't build up our immune systems, if our digestive system isn't in place, if we don't do some cleansing on a regular basis, then our bodies will not be able to adapt. Just as seasons change,
Mhm.
and trees and everything else change, we need to change with the seasons as well.
Right. And right now we're going to go to Karen, who's on the line. She's got a health question. Hi, Karen. How you doing?
Yes, hi, Greg, and I sent you a thank you email.
Oh, yes, I got it. Thank you so much.
Good, okay, and I wanted to ask Dr. Brown a question, but I wanted to also say to him, Dr. Brown, I was at your daughter's baby shower years ago at Wayne State.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Maya.
you might remember going to a comedy club with the Wayne State staff one evening down
Okay.
there downtown. You remember that years ago?
Okay.
Was that B's Comedy Kitchen back in the day?
That's right.
Okay.
See, I still got memory going on.
Yes.
All right.
What I wanted to ask you, in terms of vitamin D,
Uh-huh.
how does insufficiency of that harm a person? I mean, is it really dangerous? I know I lack vitamin D, and then Wendy Williams just came back to her show, and the
Mhm.
doctor was talking about how she has severe case.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, Karen, thank you very much for your call.
Yeah.
Because we're getting close to the top, so Jesse will answer that for you.
Yeah, thank you. And it affects everything. It affects our immune system. They're looking at at the high rates of chronic illness being related to vitamin D. See, there's one thing about the body is that sometimes we think of cars and say you can swap out this, that, and the other thing. Everything in the body is interrelated some way. The digestive system is closely tied to the immune system, which makes the